Peter Ebdon, ex-UK snooker player, used a bit of critical thinking. He was interviewed for BBC Radio Live, apparently, and he's being branded by the usual social media idiots and straight line narrative pushers. He's been branded a complete fool by them, just for speaking out basically about the coronavirus. The Independent said he used the show to push his conspiracy theories, which is bullshit in my opinion. You never know how an interview's going to go, do you, when you're being interviewed, I would presume. And that's the way it flowed, and it seemed to come into question, so he just said what he felt, which is common sense and common logic thinking. But he's been branded by the usual media as being a fool. So he's on telly and he gets followed for years and lightly bigged up by the media for being a great snooker player. So he's got the intelligence be a snooker player, but he's not got the critical thinking when it comes to logic about what's actually going on in the world. He's branded a fool. That's how stupid the media are. I mean, I say hats off to the guy. I wouldn't say for having balls, because you don't need balls to speak out. It's just called common sense. Critical thinking. We're all born with brain cells to use your own common sense and think. And he's obviously seeing through the bullshit and saying exactly what he thinks. Anyway, with a bit of a slog of trying to get to the snippet offline using various sources, it took a bit to try and get it. I cropped it to the most important parts, and this is the part what it is. Ike also tweeted about it, David Ike. Hats off to the guy. Hear what he's got to say.
You know, horses are very spiritual animals, and if a professional healer were to tune into a horse, that horse would definitely be able to pick up that energy from the healer, and it would also benefit the horse considerably. And the way that perhaps I can explain it to people that are not familiar with healing energies is that if you walk into a room and meet somebody, immediately you pick up on the vibration or the energy of that room. And we do it all the time when we meet people. There are people that we are immediately attracted to, that we like. There are people that we have reservations about. And that's all about the energetic imprint which is embedded in that person, within their aura. And we all have the capability, with a little bit of training, to pick up on those energies.
I mean, I've been doing quite a bit of reading about this in the last couple of years. So I do find it particularly fascinating, and I do wonder whether, in your experience of it, do you think people need to be more open-minded?
I think it's a very positive thing to be open-minded. I mean, you know, without wanting to be too political about things at the moment, there's an awful lot of brainwashing going on, and the problem. Everybody's been given the blue pill every day by the national media, you know, by the mainstream media. And to be able to sample the red pill, you have to go outside mainstream media to really get a clear indication of what's going on. There are some wonderful and independent researchers out there, and I would very highly recommend people research programs like UK Column, which is available on YouTube on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 1 p.m. There's a very good friend of mine, Andrew Johnson, who's got a website out there called checktheevidence.com. You know, there are a lot of people out there that are trying to make a difference and wake people up to what's going on out there. Another very good researcher is a guy called Richard D. Hall. There's another guy from America called Del Bigtree. He's got a program called The High Wire. And these people are really trying to make a difference. They're not doing it for their own benefit. They're trying to wake people up as to what's going on out there. And this is a very, very serious matter. In my honest opinion, we're now facing the greatest psychological operation in history.
Wow. the greatest psychological operation in history?
Yes, absolutely, 100%. I actually sent a tweet yesterday to Piers Morgan, which he didn't reply to.
Right.
But I've done a lot of research on these things, as a lot of people would have had the opportunity over the last couple of months. And there's an Irish professor out there called Professor Dolores Cahill, and all the information that we're getting from the governments at the moment, she would be going in exactly the opposite direction. And I said to him, basically, in the tweet that I sent to Piers Morgan yesterday, if you had the balls to interview Professor Dolores Cahill on mainstream media, on your programme, people would be going back to work next week.
Do you
100% guaranteed?
Do you worry about talking out? Do you worry about speaking about your beliefs and opinions?
No, not at all. No,
would you if you were still playing? Would you if you were still playing?
I've always been a bit controversial, but I've always been my own person. You know, I like to be independent thinking. I'm a free thinker. You know, if people attack me, people try to politicise things. But there are people from the left. If you want to talk about politics, there are people from the left and from the right that are interested in the truth. Whereas there are very intelligent people out there that seem to want to politicise everything. It's not about politicising things. It's about seeking the truth. You know, is social distancing harmful? Yes, it probably is harmful. People need touch. People need to shake hands. People need to build up their immunity. People need to be hugged.
And if you are on your own in lockdown, then the mental health, as you're alluding to, we won't know the true cost of that for a while, will we?
Oh, it's absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating.
Just a final one, Peter, which is slightly odd because we've had a really quite an in-depth and fascinating discussion. I'm kind of going to bring it back to the sport now and the sport.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you really wanted to talk about snooker, didn't you?
Really?
No.
No. The beauty of this show, Peter, is that, to be honest with you, I'm never sure where any interview is going to go, and that's why I like doing it. And actually, with the time that we have available and with sport not taking place, I think it gives us a real insight into sportsmen and women that we don't often get, really, because we're so obsessed with the sport.
That's brilliant.
But a couple of snooker fans have got in touch, and I would just throw this out to finish with. Do you think when sport resumes and when snooker gets back, you've already slightly alluded to it, that the sport is in a good place?
Oh, it's in a fantastic place. You know,